thought we might start today just with this opening prayer. Lord, will you guide me? Will you speak through me? Will you act through me and direct me? Will you show me the way forward? This is our ongoing prayer and our ongoing surrender before you. The God that I'm speaking about is the intelligence of this universe, is the presence of your nature. It is the presence which creates life and is life itself. It's the vastness of the sky and space and the entire universe. It's the love in your hearts. It's the beauty you see all around you. It's the humility to come forward, to let go of a very difficult and painful memory or thought, or it's the ability to let go of being deeply afflicted by something you're struggling with. God, of course, is the compassion of your heart, the compassion that allows nations to heal after a war, allow family members to forgive themselves, and for husband and wife or lovers to let go and smile and reconnect with each other. And so, of course, there is this experience, this is what's called like the non-dual experience of God, which is profound, and we all are inviting these experiences, these aspects of essence, to wake up in us, as our very own nature. And of course, we've all experienced this when we're on a yoga mat, or perhaps even when we walk into this sanctuary today. You feel your heart coming alive. It's a beautiful thing. And so when I'm inviting you to have faith and trust, I'm inviting you to have faith and trust that God is everywhere, that truth is everywhere, that forgiveness is possible always, that your nature is humility. And so the invitation here, of course, is to connect first and foremost with all these qualities of self, to discover this is what we truly are, to radically find compassion as our nature, as the aliveness, the brilliance, the movement of truth within us. And of course, to discover these qualities, to discover what we truly are, we must be willing to surrender our mind. We must be willing to surrender our emotional attachments, our struggles. And by attachments, I don't mean just your attachments to whatever, your husband or wife, your partners. Those things aren't actually supposed to be surrendered. The great attachments that are supposed to be surrendered is our attachment to being right, our attachment to thinking we know what is true, our attachment to neurotically looking to our mind to tell us what is true. When we are humble enough to let go of our mind and to come into our heart, there's a different kind of vision which arises, a different experience of truth. It's not a mental truth, it's not a calculated truth, it's not a truth we've discovered through logic. But it's a truth of radical intimacy and openness. It's a truth that comes forward when we actually step into reality. When we begin to see and experience and feel the spacious nature of life. When we begin to connect intimately with the radiance of all of life. And so it's this willingness to connect deeply with our heart, first and foremost, before connecting with the mind. The mind will always try to figure life out. It'll always try to do things this way or that way. It will argue with itself. It will read an idea in a book and thinks it understands it and thinks it has a new vision of life. But truth is not like that. Truth just is. But when I say just is, it's not a boring, dry, dead isness. Truth is a fiery aliveness. It's a fiery aliveness. When you see truth, when you experience truth, it comes with a power, it comes with a strength, it comes with a brilliant radiance. Recently I did this silly thing. My wife was, asking me for another baby. Of course, I feel like I've done my part with babies. I have 2 beautiful girls, and that's plenty for me. And so she was searching on Craigslist for, some household piece of furniture and, some bar stools or something. And she saw this little picture of this puppy. And immediately she fell in love, and I looked at that puppy and I kind of said, oh crap, okay, I guess we're getting a puppy. And we went, to the place and, in a sense, we rescued this puppy from this elderly lady that had too many dogs and could no longer take care of especially a puppy anymore. So we brought the puppy home, and anyone who sees the puppy, they see this radiance, this aliveness. Of course, they see this cuteness and this gentleness and tenderness. When they look at the dog, when they experience the dog, they give themselves permission to connect intimately with it. It's a funny thing, but a puppy and a baby will bring us to the truth so quickly. So quickly. Because for once in our day, we have decided to step out of our egoic nature and say, I know what this is. When we see a baby, when we see a puppy, there's something that's so new, so fresh, so alive about it, that our heart just comes forward and takes over. Very similar thing happens when we fall in love. Now, of course, babies and puppies and falling in love are also doorways to incredible illusions, incredible confusion, incredible struggle. And so I'm not going to recommend that as a path, but there's just this natural thing that happens. There's a natural thing that happens when our heart sees something new, it sees something fresh. It just comes forward and it sees the truth instantly. You connect with it. You feel into it. You feel alive. You see it's new, fresh, without any of your opinions, your agendas about it, without any of your politics, without any of your past, without any of your projections into the future. When you see the truth, you see what is there fully and really. You see it honestly. And so this willingness to drop out of the mind and come into this place of innocence. It's from this place of innocence that we connect with life. We connect with the spaciousness of life. There's that sense of awe. Like, my God, the world goes on forever. My God, the sky is so huge. My God, the ocean is vast in every direction. When we connect with this place of innocence, we are able to see our partner, we're able to see our friends as if for the first time. When we connect with this innocence, we can actually see what is here. We can see the truth of things. Because we don't have an agenda, we don't have a plan, we don't have a way where we're strategizing how to interact with another. We just see the truth and the beauty which is here. So to come into the truth, we have to surrender the mind, drop into the heart. And we begin to notice how quiet it is. Despite that rumbling a couple minutes ago of the train, we notice that the train is arising in the space of silence. We begin to feel silence as our own nature. We begin to experience spaciousness as our own nature. We don't have to think about it. We don't have to get to it. In fact, the more we think about it, the more we try to get to it, the more we struggle with it. The more we walk in the opposite direction. But to come into this space of silence, this space of intimate radiance, it's a matter of descending out of the mind, the consciousness of our thinking mind, and down into the heart, and being innocent, like a child. A child can sit outside all day and roll in the grass, play in the sandbox, get down on their hands and knees and look at a grasshopper, and fall in love. They can roll backwards into the grass and fall in love with the sky. They naturally commune with the earth and the trees and the forest and water, because their heart is awake and they are living in a presence of innocence. And as adults, the invitation is not to go back to regress into childhood, but to allow our innocent nature to come forward and to live through us, to act through us, to respond through us, to pray through us, to move intelligently through us. And so this is our ongoing prayer. This is our ongoing invitation of opening our hearts fully to that which is true. To that which is true. And so far I've been speaking about this non-dual experience of God. God waking up in you as you. But because I'm intimately close with many of you, because I'm intimately close with my own humanity, I know what it's like to struggle in this world. I know what it's like to have a good night and a bad morning. Some of you know that song. It was a good night, but a bad morning. And so when we find ourselves in these situations where we're lost, where we're confused, where we can't get out of our mind, where we are struggling with coming into this place of innocence. When we cannot find our true nature any longer, when we feel lost and unconnected to our true nature, I invite you, you good Buddhists, you good yogis, you good Christians, you good Muslims, all of you who are here, you good Jews, I invite you to bow before God, to open your heart to a personal God, to open your heart to support from above, to call out and ask for help, to say, God, will you come into me? And there's these passages in the Bible. They go something like this. All ye who are heavy laden, all you who are carrying this great burden, give it to me. Give it to God. I'm big enough to take it. That is a wonderful invitation, an incredible invitation. That if you are struggling, you have someone to give it to. And of course, by someone, I don't mean a person. By someone, I mean something great, something greater than what you are in your current manifestation. And so I have always found this helpful, as when I was a young child. If I was struggling with something, I would fall on my knees and just give it to God. God, Lord, you take this. Even if nothing in my life changed, what I felt was this internal experience of a lift. Like something was lifted out of me and it was given back to life. This energy that I was carrying, this internal confusion, this pain, this struggle, it was given back to life. And so I encourage you, give your struggle back to life. Give it to God. You know, when we've had too much to drink, our body does this wonderful thing. It's a brutal thing. It vomits the alcohol out of us. It rejects it. And so I encourage you in the same way, in a disturbing way, when you're struggling with something, empty it out of you and empty it back to God. Give it back to life itself. Unburden your hearts. Unburden your minds. The Lord is waiting. The intelligence of the universe is waiting. And I invite you to let go of your struggle. Hand it over to God. Hand it over. Be like the people on the train that keeps chugging away alongside of us here. Sit back and enjoy the ride through the mountains. But give your struggle, give the work to God. Give it over to life. It's too hard to be a human in this world. There is far too much struggle, far too much to understand, far too much to figure out. Give it back to God and let Him guide you. Let her grace lead you. It's free. Don't be one of the fools who's too arrogant to connect with the greatest intelligence, the greatest compassion in and of the universe. Don't make that mistake. Give your burdens away. And then see how easy it is to discover your true nature once again. Nothing in your life may change when you do this. But inwardly you will feel empty, you will feel free, and you will find it is so much easier to connect with your true nature. You will find your true nature is just handed to you. For it is you and was given to you by this grace. And so I invite us all now to close our eyes and begin a meditation upon this presence which you are, and upon this grace which is flooding us this day. I invite you to allow your hearts to be unburdened. Allow your minds to be spacious and free. And give yourself permission just to let go into the truth of what you are.